What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to iStuff Gaming, and today I'm going to be bringing you my top 5 gods that need some love in Smite. Now, before we get into the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to keep up with any future content. I'll be leaving the link to my Discord and my Twitch in the description below. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get on to the video. Now, disclaimer, this is, again, my personal top 5. That doesn't necessarily mean these characters are bad, or they need, significant buffs. To me, I do believe that they do need a little bit of attention, maybe like a rework or a buff, something that gives them a little bit more, because I feel like in the current game they're just not that strong. So let's go ahead and get to my number 5. So number 5, Naga. Now Naga does have a pretty good kit, built-in crit, a banish, stun, a heal. That also gives him a lot of crit chance, right? So on paper, this character sounds really strong, and then this character has been known to be a flex as a support since he does have a protection shred. However, the reason why I think this character needs some love is that this is a very all or nothing character. It's either he hits everything and you die, or you get away for free. And you get away for free, and he can't do anything to you, right? And it's bad currently just because first of all, anti-heal will completely negate his 2. The 2 healing is so hard counted by anti-heal that it's basically not even relevant, right? If he misses his 3, he loses his only engage. The ultimate is pretty hard to hit raw. That's why most people would just hit the 3 into the ult, or be standing right next to the person that they need to hit to be able to get the ultimate in the first place. And then the protection shred really only takes away 13 per hit. And then most of the time you're not going to be hitting the same person more than once. So in a jungler setting, this really won't do anything for him because he should insta-kill you anyway with a crit build, right? In a solo lane or support setting, it's okay, but the only way for him to get somebody off of his carry or his teammates is to either use this stun or use this banish. And if they miss either of those, they're either a sitting duck or can't do anything for the team anymore. So I feel like this character needs a little bit of attention. I would say give this character a better run move, a little bit better, a little bit bigger hitbox on the ultimate, so it's not as wonky to hit. Maybe a facial rework or a body rework, because I'm tired of looking at this character and thinking it's a female. And the only thing is, I would probably change, take away the crit passive and just make it to where he gets a flat amount of power. Something along those lines to just really help this character, because a lot, with how the game is working right now, not having some type of way to run away from somebody or having a disengage is very, very bad. So at number 4, this character is actually doing a lot better now, but I still feel like this needs a slight changes, and that would be Apollo. Here's the thing. Having a Mez is really strong. Having this little dash is pretty decent, especially since they buffed it to where it hits a lot sooner. But the Mez can kind of screw him over, because if he's in a team fight and they dive him and he Mezes, but the team is still hitting them, he can't get out. And then the 1 doesn't really go that far. I feel like it should go a little bit farther, which is his only clear move. I feel like it should go a little bit farther so he can clear a little bit easier. His passive is fine. His passive is really strong because it falls into the current meta. The biggest thing that I would want seen changed on this character is his ultimate. The ultimate is really good for engaging or creating teamfight opportunities, for stealing objective. Here's the issue, though. The amount of time it takes to cast is abysmal. It's like 2-3 seconds. In that amount of time, you could die. Right? In that amount of time, you will instantly die, especially as a hunter when you're not really going to be building protections. So what I would like to see changed about this ultimate ability is either make the casting time a lot faster, or give him a decent amount of damage mitigations, not protections, damage mitigations to the ultimate. That way he doesn't instantly die. If it's good enough for Tsukuyomi, if it's good enough for somebody like Ratatoskir to be able to get that kind of ultimate and cast it really fast, if it's good enough for Thor, it's good enough for Apollo. Now at number 3, a lot of people are going to give me flack for this, and a lot of people are going to say that I'm crazy. King Arthur. I think King Arthur needs a little bit of a buff. Here's the reason why. Now, the reason why he was really stupid before was because of Glad Shield. Glad Shield made this character. It gave him his one issue, and that's sustain. And it gave him physical protection, it gave him the cooldowns he needed. He had everything he needed in one item to make him strong. On top of that, he had a million abilities. And since his release, he's seen damage nerfs, energy gain nerfs. He's seen his ultimate get changed. His one got nerfed. A lot of things got nerfed about this character. And even though he can still hit pretty decently hard, now he has no sustain compared to the other one. And there's 2 things that people are probably going to be coming at me about this character. And that's Soul Eater and the fact that he gets damage mitigations on his passive. Here's why both of those are not that good. First of all, Soul Eater gives a very low amount of power, barely any lifesteal unless you're fighting in a wave, and the card becomes obsolete once anti-heal starts getting put on and the late game starts coming. Right? And in my opinion, Soul Eater is only good if you have a lot of burst damage without having to have a minion wave, or you have a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? Or you have a lot of lifesteal built into your kit, i.e. somebody like Kamazatz or Pele, somebody who can also get away with Soul Eaters, like maybe a Sun Kong, something along those lines. And King Arthur, while his one does hit pretty hard, it's the only one that does. The tick healing he gets off of these other 2 abilities is very, very small. And it pales in comparison to what he used to get with the old Glad Shield. The next thing I want to talk about is the damage mitigations he gets on his enemy. Right? Now, keep in mind, he only gets 1.5 damage mitigation per stack at a maximum of 4 stacks. Right? Here's the thing. Let's go ahead and look back. Amaterasu, you want to know how much damage mitigation she gets on her 2 alone, which is also on a 12-second cooldown without CDR? She gets 15 max rank. And that's her clear, so she's going to be leveling this ability. She gets 15%. If that's not ridiculous enough for you, let's take a look at somebody who has it even better. Osiris. Osiris gets 2% damage mitigation, 2% physical damage mitigation, and 1% magical mitigation for every fragment of his body that's missing. At a total of 8 fragments. So with his passive alone, he gets 16% physical damage mitigations and then 8% magical damage mitigations. On top of the fact that if you're tethered to him while that's going, with his 3rd ability, he gets an extra 35% damage reduction. That is insane. So this character, and King Arthur's mitigation, he has to build this back up. He has to build this up, and it's only affected by attack speed, which I'll get to in a second. Compared to somebody like Sun Wukong, he gets beat up and gets physical power, physical protections. Guan Yu has a heal and steals protections. Hercules has damage mitigations on his 3, while also having a heal on his 3. You see where I'm going with this? Every single character in the Warriors class has some kind of way to out-sustain King Arthur. King Arthur has good damage, but the only person out of the Warriors list that he's outright beating is Mulan. That's the only person he's outright beating. And even Odin, he has a health shield that's on a 12-second cooldown at max rank, and then all Odin's build CDR, so that's going to be really on a 7 to 8 second cooldown, or even lower. Chak has protections on his 2 with a heal. Arlong Shen has that ult that heals him and a health shield. So Cullen has absurd amount of damage while also having anti-heal and getting protections when he transforms and having a million abilities, which HP 5, and he doesn't have to worry about mana. King Arthur is the only person out of the entire warrior list that doesn't have some type of strong sustain. Another thing I want to talk about in this character is that why is it that his passive completely counters itself? and here's the thing. Attack speed conversion, right, will go towards his energy gain. You will never build attack speed on this character. I will almost guarantee it. The only time I've ever seen anybody put attack speed on this character is if they're either building a Shogun's Kusari or an Energy Talisman. Energy Talisman is rarely ever being used. I don't know why, because that's one of this character's best items. And Shogun's as a support. Right? And then there are other cards that better benefit him, so there's no point for him to build the Shoguns. So he essentially has something in his past that doesn't work for him. Especially since he can't get any passives or increase his own attack speed because of how his character works. The character needs something. Now, this character is, again, one buff or one nerf, one buff or one... Yeah, actually, we're just one buff away from becoming absolutely dumb and broken again. But he definitely needs something, because right now, in my opinion, he's bottom of the tier list. He is C tier. He needs something to help him compete with these other solo laners. Right? So, I'll go ahead and get off my soapbox. So we're going to go ahead and move on to number 2. And to me, Alpwash. Now, for me, I diamond this character, same as King Arthur. I diamond this character back when I was playing Joust primarily. And this character, along with Zeus, runs that mode. But this character suffers from the same thing that Zeus suffers from, and that's lack of a run move. And if he wants to hurt you, he loses his sustain. Because if you don't know, how Alpwash works is that whenever there's a body on the ground, he can consume it, reduce the cooldowns on his first and third ability, and then be able to cast it again while also getting health and mana back. Right? But if he wants to hurt you, he has to use his 1 and his 3 and his 2 all in one go, which consumes the body and leaves him a sitting duck, because he's not really going to insta-kill you without his ult. Right? So, the thing that I want to see with Alpwash is either give him a run move, fix his cooldowns just a tad bit, it doesn't really need to be a lot, or give him a better way to sustain. Because, yes, we've seen those moments where Alpwash just keeps throwing his minions against the wall and eating them, but that's hard countered by anti-heal, or if he gets CC'd to death. So I think a good way to fix this character, somebody mentioned this to me, my friend Cyro, is 1. When he casts his 1, he should be able to teleport to it. Right? Or cast his 3, he should be able to teleport to it. One of those. Right? While still keeping the same properties for the anti-heal and take damage and the burst, things like that. Or make it to where, I don't know, if he hits his 3, and like, a better way to do it is that for each body that is used, whether it's consumed or it's blown up, if it's blown up, it gives you less healing, but you get healing back for it. Or if you consume it, you get more healing for it. Something like that. Something to change it up to give him a little bit better sustain for his lack of mobility and lack of run moves. Even though the character can burst pretty well, I think those 2 things would be pretty dealable, or something that can make him better for the conquer. Now, the last character that I think needs some love... I actually just thought of the character, and I just mentioned the character. I cannot believe the name. Here we go. Osiris. Now, I just mentioned that Osiris has some pretty insane amount of damage mitigation. But this character needs some help. He is a niche pick in the solo lane, even though he's built for the solo lane. He can't really go anywhere else other than the solo lane. You know, there's some warriors that can flex jungle, support, sometimes even mid. And even though he gets all this damage mitigations, he has a lot of damage mitigation, so he has that going for him. But in the team fight situations, he's kind of lackluster. For 2 main reasons. 1, even though his ultimate does have anti-heal on it, and it has a root, the root only lasts for, what, half a second? Not even half a second, right here. Not even half a second, 0.4 seconds. And then the stun takes 4 seconds to actually cast. So the stun takes way too long, and then they can break the tether. Right? So what I think would be good for this character is that make it to where he can cancel his 3 to instantly get the stun, and then have him keep the damage mitigation for a set amount of time after the ability is finished casting. So in a situation like, okay, So he gets the damage mitigations, he pops his 3, then stuns, and then he keeps the damage mitigations for another 2 to 3 seconds after the stun. I think that will be a fine change. That will make his team fight capabilities a lot better, right? Because his 1 and his 2 are already really strong. This slows and this boosts his speed, and then this will also increase the speed, increase the amount of increase the slow on his 1 if you hit the 2 on top of it. So I think this character, so those 2 changes to this character would be completely fine. Osiris hasn't seen any real changes in a very, very long time. And he's just been kind of lackluster for a while. And I feel as though him and King Arthur need the most love. Even though King Arthur, I believe, needs more love than Osiris. But I think Osiris is at the top of the list because he hasn't seen any changes for. So those are my top 5 gods that I think need some love and attention in Smite. If you disagree with me or you would like to add anybody else who you think needs some attention, whether it's a buff or a nerf, leave it in the comment section below. Again, if you'd like to keep up with any future content, I'll be leaving the link to my Twitch and my Discord in the description below as well. And without further ado, I'll catch y'all later.